the sound of coyotes and the fox running past the house and lots of types of birds and squirrels and chipmunks,
Yeah.
they're all kind of part of my little world, my inner world.
Mm.
And I love the power of nature to be metaphors for things I'm feeling
Yeah.
or experiencing. Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing well. It's the first day of spring, but it's snowing here, so
Oh, really?
yeah.
But you must be used to that in Canada.
Yeah, especially where I live, which is Prince Edward Island. It's on the east coast, on the Atlantic Ocean. So the weather changes a lot, and our
Really?
spring is pretty cold, but
Mm.
eventually it warms up.
So, did you grow up where you are now?
Sort of, yeah. I was born closer to Toronto, but my family has deep ties to the island, so we would spend every summer here. And when I was 10, we moved here permanently. So I've been here on and off since I was 10.
Wow, amazing. And but you come from a family where your father was also a singer-songwriter and you also. And is that was that your inspiration, you think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I was growing up, I knew that my dad was a musician, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. I didn't fully understand what he did.
Really?
um, but it did make me think that it was possible to be a musician and
Mm.
make that leap. It didn't seem scary. I probably should have been more worried, but
Oh, really?
no, it was, yeah. So, and now as I'm older, and he died when I was a teenager, so he's truly an inspiration as far as his writing and just, yeah, he taught me a lot about music.
So he did, when you were younger, did you play an instrument or what was your fascination then or your interest then in the music? Was it an instrument?
I think I played piano from the time I could reach the keys.
Really?
But it was when I was 15 or 16, I started playing guitar, and that became kind of my inspiration. But I think it was songwriting for me has always been about communication, and I was terribly shy and afraid of the world when I was younger. And so writing songs allowed me to find a way to talk about my feelings and my experience without actually having to say it to someone directly.
Really? And your dad, did he realize when you were young that you had this talent?
I don't know. My mom says that I was singing from an early age, but I don't know. I think I would love to know what he thought, but I don't know.
Right. Mm. Maybe he was busy with his things and that he might not
Yeah.
have, or maybe he did and he just didn't think of saying.
Yeah,
We never
exactly.
know these things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny the relationship, you have with your parents when you're a child, and then as you get older, if you're lucky enough to have a relationship with them, like my mother and I, now it's a very different relationship than when I was 10.
Yeah. No, that's true. But this, you said now that it was your way to communicate. And can you think back now and the songs you wrote when you were younger? Uh, can you see the value of them now?
I mean, they were valuable for learning how to become a songwriter, just learning how to put down my thoughts and organize them into a song. Um, I don't, yeah, it's funny. I can remember some of the first songs I wrote, and they were, obviously very terrible. But I think I just desperately needed to be able
Yeah.
to express myself, and so I kind of honed that type of songwriting.
Well, I spoke to a composer once, and we talked about this. You know, that the first work that you almost discredit it in a way because you think it's just my first work. But sometimes when you look back over years and you think, hey, really, did I was actually good, or you know, this is why I'm asking. Sometimes you look back and you think, I wasn't half as bad as I thought I was, you know. And so,
Yeah, I still look back at, the first album that I released into the world, and I kind of makes me feel embarrassed.
really,
But as I get older, it's true. I start to be kinder to my younger self, and recognize that it was, pretty brave to be doing what I was doing and to try to make that jump into having a career in music and, yeah, writing such personal songs. So she did
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now I think we should credit our first work because um, it's where it starts and it's where we start from, and I think it's always so valuable to have that, you know, to
Yeah.
at least have that you think, well, I was brave enough to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I agree.
So
Now,
you have a album, and I saw on Instagram, um, and I find this quite interesting because I think your also the instruments that you have on your album, and especially I saw there's a bouzouki, and I actually, you know, you it's not an instrument that you hear every day.
yeah, we have a lot of the um, Celtic traditions musically here on the east coast of Canada. A lot of Scottish, Irish, and also French. And I guess the bouzouki isn't traditionally a Celtic instrument. I'm not sure, but it is in that family of, the double-stringed instruments. And my friend Darren plays it so beautifully, and it was nice to have him join me. And the whole album, I think, coming from this place where there's so much of that traditional music, and I hadn't really tapped into that very much before on my other albums. So I wanted to really invite in some of my dear friends who play so beautifully on these other instruments that I haven't included before. And it made me feel, yeah, like I was expressing a different side of myself, a more island version of myself.
Now, when you write and you put these sounds together, does it have to be, or does it help to tell the story for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you're putting together songs and trying to arrange them and figure out what those sounds are going to be, um, often I've just kind of fumbled around and, asked people to play things and tried things out. And this time it was more intentional, I think. I really wanted to have some of those traditional sounds included in what might be more thought of as an Americana sound. And so that was very satisfying to have a preconceived idea for once of what I wanted it to sound like.
And I always think of folk music as almost very down to earth and very sort of close to nature in a sense. Do you think by living there on the island and by or is this something that you get inspired from? That nature and this closeness to nature.
Yeah, definitely. I write a lot of my songs at the kitchen table looking out into the world, and I live rurally. I live, in the middle of nowhere, and with forests and fields and the sound of the ocean, and lots of wildlife. The sound of coyotes and the fox running past the house and lots of types of birds, and squirrels and chipmunks,
Yeah.
they're all kind of part of my little world, my inner world.
Mm.
And I love the power of nature to be metaphors for things I'm feeling
Yeah.
or experiencing.
Well, that's interesting because and you also your album is called Coyote, and what specifically made you choose that title?
It was the name of the song that was the first one I really knew was going to be on the record. It
Yeah.
was the beginning of a new batch of songs for me. And that song came from just that, like hearing the coyotes all the time and never seeing them. They never
Yeah.
show their face, and I can see their tracks in the snow, and I can, yeah, you hear them having parties up in the hills, and so they became part of the background of my world, but
Mm.
invisible. And so I really was intrigued by them, and I felt like they're kind of they have their ways of speaking to you if you listen. So yeah, I felt like it was an appropriate title for the whole record because I feel like there's a lot of that. Yeah, just if you're quiet and can listen to the world around you, then you'll generally head in the right direction, hopefully.
Now, after this whole pandemic and all the lockdowns we had, was there a change that you could see in your music, in the way you wrote, or how you got inspired?
Definitely, there was a change. I felt very disconnected from my instrument, from the guitar. Um, it felt like it was too connected to my work, which no longer existed. Like the traveling and playing an instrument and sharing my songs. And so, yeah, for the most part, I barely picked up a guitar unless I was doing a live stream or something. But what did change was that I was reconnected with the piano. And I just before the pandemic in October, I think, of 2019, I was so lucky to receive from my uncle my childhood piano, the one that I had first played as a little
Wow.
girl. And I didn't realize the power of an instrument and like the sounds that are in like connected deeply inside me in a physical way. Like and so having that as my friend through the last 2 years has been really, really cool and very interesting. And so I spent more time there learning a lot of music and not so much writing. I have written a few songs, but I would say I've probably only written 3 or 4 songs in the last 2 years, which is a lot less than I would normally do.
Wow, that's interesting because I spoke to a choreographer also and also during the time of the pandemic, and I thought that maybe composers and choreographers, and that they would be have so much time and be so free to just write all these wonderful things and many people and even composers say to me that it was actually this very quietness and that made them uninspired, and that it was almost this hustle and bustle and getting places that inspired them to write and or to create. And was it then the same for you as well?
I think so. There was something in there about I mean, at the same time, I know some people who put out 3 albums in the last 2 years, or who wrote a lot, or created a lot of paintings, or and it was a very busy time for me trying to figure out how to make a living when I had to stay in my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was something about the sudden stopping of the world and having to kind of face myself day after day in a way that I hadn't before. It was very powerful. I think I made a lot of positive changes in my life, and a lot of good things have come out of the last 2 years, but not a lot of creations, not a lot of songs. So yeah, I do wonder if it was yeah, maybe it is the traveling around and meeting new people and just always being kind of in the flow of things that helps spur on all of those songs. I don't know.
Do you think, yeah, but do you think you will, is there something you would change now going forward, say with your performances, or a way that you think that you rethought during this time?
I definitely don't want to go on the way I was, that's for sure. I think I was so busy, and a lot of it was just to be busy. It wasn't fruitful. It wasn't, some of it wasn't meaningful, and a lot of it was very expensive. I realized that, a lot of the work I was doing was not financially viable. And staying home kind of showed me that. So, yeah, I think for a lot of us, touring artists, like being able to stop and take a look at the picture of what all of that looks like, being able to choose what we want as opposed to just going as we had for so long, and hopefully I can make better choices and do things that are more meaningful each time I walk out the door. I don't want to just leave because that's the next thing. I want to know that I'm going somewhere that is going to be good for me and for the audience and for everything.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists say that, that they thought about these things over this time, that that you had to be still and not move around so much, because you tour as well. You tour a lot.
Yeah, that's generally a lot of my life has been spent for the last 20 years on the road, and it's been an interesting time. I've been raising my daughter as well she's 16. So actually having these last 2 years with her has been just so incredible. I think it's been good for our little family unit, and I wouldn't trade being home these last 2 years for anything. It's been a remarkable time in many ways.
Yeah, and your daughter, is she also a musician?
Yeah, she is. She's always been visually creating things, and she's always been a little bit into music. She loves music and listens to a lot of different things, but she has never really been into music in a deep way until just this past year, where she had a really influential teacher at her school that helped to give her confidence, and so now she's been performing and writing and doing all the things, but in a much better way than I did at that age.
But do you give some input, or do you help her with the writing?
I think there's little things but my partner is a musician as well, and so sometimes we've worked on harmonies and showing which chords to play for if she's learning a song, but she's always been happier to learn things on her own, and so she's not really into being taught. She'd rather learn it her own way.
Well, sometimes it's good that she, that some people learn themselves or teach themselves, because then they evolve in that way. But of course, I wonder sometimes, as a musician yourself, how do you let go that, just so that she could develop in her own way? Do you find it sometimes difficult, where you think, oh, I know this is not right, but she just doesn't want to let you help?
Maybe it's harder for my partner, but I was also stubbornly independent learning music. And for me, it's taken so much longer than it should have to learn certain things. So I can relate to her being that age and wanting to do things her own way. So I just give her space. And if she lets me listen to what she's doing, I feel lucky.
And do you have the same? Does she also write folk music or sing music?
I don't know that she's settled on a genre at this point. I think she's just really exploring, and it's pretty exciting in a way to see what she comes up with no, not a lot of theory, not a lot of training in that way. That she can do whatever she wants. She's totally free.
Well, I think this is also something that I ask musicians if they come from a musical family and so on. And sometimes you hear them say, "No, I don't come from a musical family," and I'm happy about that because it gave me the freedom. And I think for me also as a self-taught photographer, I I feel free because I don't know many rules. I make it up as I go along, and in a way that is for me. I can understand what you're saying. That this freedom for me, it's this freedom that I have, and that I've also spoken to other photographers who said that the moment they did this studying and realized how many things are wrong, that it's also in a way inhibits them, to just be more daring.
Yeah.
And now you're saying the same thing with your daughter, that it's that freedom that maybe that she then creates something that's new and she doesn't have the boundaries.
I think it's powerful to learn things the hard way.
Yeah.
Like you may end up knowing the same things about photography or for me songwriting that somebody could learn out of a book or from a teacher.
Yeah.
But when you learn it yourself, you have, I think it comes with a deeper lesson. Although, there are lots of things I wish I was better at and knew more about, but
But so when did you, at what age did you realize that you want to do this full time as a career, as a singer?
I had been I think, when I was younger as a teenager, it hadn't really crossed my mind that I could do that. And so I did a bunch of things. I went away for a year to Australia, and then I lived in Toronto for a year, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and kind of just moved around and tried a bunch of different things. I thought I might get into theater as far as like the technician side. I really enjoyed that. But when I moved back to Prince Edward Island, when I was 21 or so, I found a bunch of people who were playing music, and we all started playing music together, and I started a band, and just found my community. I found my people. And then by the time when I was 25 and Isabel was on her way, I guess I had to make a decision if I was going to do that full time or figure out a way to survive, because I was going to be a single mom, and it just seemed like an impossible choice. But it was at that moment, like I was 7 months pregnant. It's like, I'm going to do
that. That's amazing.
I think partly because I thought about this, growing person inside of me, and I thought, what would be the best role model, like someone who followed their passions and dreams and made it work despite challenges, or or would it be better for me to give up things for a while and then try again when she was older? And it worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but I found a way to do it, thanks mostly to my mother.
That's amazing. Wow. And I mean, you've had so much success with your work and with your music. So what a role model. Yeah, you are.
I've been very lucky, and I feel fortunate that, just to be able to make music my work I feel very lucky.
Yeah. But tell me, Catherine, what is your wish now for the future?
I think The last 2 years have shown me that I'm at a new stage in my life and my career, one that I want more community around me. And maybe that's because we haven't been able to be with people for 2 years. But I think it was something I was feeling prior to this. But so I'm working on some projects to maybe, build more community and have more things happening here on Prince Edward Island. And continue with performing and recording and all of that, but to add in another level where, I'm interacting with more people regularly here where I live and doing songwriting workshops and things like that.
Wow, this sounds amazing. The songwriting workshops, is that aimed for younger people?
I like just this last part of the school year. I'm going to be working with some high school students within the school, but I think for the most part, I'll be working with all ages, from young adults to older folks. And for me, it's about the transformative nature of songwriting. When you're able to express yourself through songs, amazing things happen, and anyone can write a song. So that's kind of what I'm excited to share.
Well, I'm so always so interested in this type of art education for children, for and music, and this is why I'm asking, because I think it's so important that we give children the opportunity to just find this something that they have inside, that they don't always get the chance when they go to school and it's all the academics, but there's so much in the artistic side that they can develop that they sometimes don't even realize that they have. So, and I was so hoping that the pandemic would make us also realize that that it is a responsibility to also let children discover this. So it's wonderful that you do these workshops.
Yeah, I think, I have done them with really young kids, and it's really exciting to see what they come up with. And they're just like, they are completely free, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. They have no preconceived notion of how to write a song. And that's been really fun. And then, with my daughter's age group in high school, I think they're all struggling to find a way to express themselves. And the music teacher at my daughter's school has been so instrumental in supporting them to write songs and to perform them for the class. And there's just been an explosion in that school of young people writing. And yeah, it's very exciting. And it's even surprised the teacher. I think she didn't realize how much there was in there for the kids.
Yeah, I think I applaud teachers music teachers who do that, and who inspire, and I think it's so important nowadays that it's possible, that the possibilities are there for children.
Yeah.
But Catherine, just the last thing I want to ask you. I ask everybody to make a shout out to a restaurant or a coffee shop in their area.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite place you go?
There's so many great places, and we live in a very seasonal place. So, tourists come in the summer, and then a lot of places close down in the autumn. And so some of my favorite places are only summertime places, but there's a really beautiful new restaurant that just opened up in Charlottetown, and it's a Korean barbecue place.
Wow.
It's called Haruke, and the family that runs it, they're just so lovely. They're new to Canada, and the food is incredible. And I want to go back there every day.
Wow. Sounds amazing. I'll put the link to their website on the description.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Yeah. But it was so lovely to talk to you, and it's really, I think your music is it's so beautiful, and it's really inspiring also what you do in the workshops that you are presenting. And I wish you all the best for the future, and that your wishes come true.
Thanks, Petra. I hope that I get to, maybe I'll come and visit you in Vienna.
That would be amazing.
It
Yeah.
was on the list of places I was going in 2020, but anyway,
Really?
I'll come back.
Oh, you have to. Oh, no, definitely you have to. Please let me know when you come.
I will. I will.
I would so love to meet you in person. And of course, I would love to come to one of your concerts.
It's been so lovely to chat with you. Thanks for this
It
opportunity.
was my pleasure. So have a lovely afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
And I hope the snow. Well, I don't know how you feel about snow. I love snow, but maybe in spring now you wish for the snow to melt.
Yeah, one last good storm I'm okay with, but I'm ready to see flowers and green grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Catherine. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.